Ugh. What a weird name for an episode that is mostly really lovely. Why does it have such a name? We get some lovely Darcy flirting bits. I mean, why such a negative title? We know why, or if you don't remember, you will know soon. Of course, remember that there is a longer version of this episode on the Patreon. My name is Ashley Clements, and this is the Look Back Diaries. It is ugh, ugh. The last episode of the Pemberley Digital arc, and that's why it's called that, because we were just sad to leave. No, it is because Pemberley is cut off prematurely? I don't know. Was the implication? Yes, the implication was that Lizzie was going to stay longer, but doesn't because of a certain phone call. Let's take a look.
You know, some days are bad.
Some days are bad. This actually, look at that foreshadowing. This one's going to end up being bad. I haven't taken the time to discuss that this is, first of all, how we started the day in this corner, and also that everything that you see in the background was placed there by Katie. I think maybe the couch was already there, but she probably also put the cushion on it. But the camera picture on the wall and everything behind me is all Katie Most. This phone is, this is so funny to me. We had been using my phone as Lizzie's phone, which was an iPhone 4 at the time, which was not the newest iPhone at the time. And to give Lizzie a new phone, for some reason, we just used Margaret's phone taken out of the case. But Margaret's phone was also an iPhone 4. So we decided that I would just move it quickly so that you couldn't tell that it was an old phone. But also, Lizzie wouldn't be able to afford the newest phone. But that's also why I'm like, all of that was like, don't let them really see the phone. You will notice I'm re-wearing a top. I don't know if I'd worn that sweater elsewhere, but just, and we, kind of coordinated our warm colors here, which I guess you could say means we're warming up to each other. I don't know if we thought that deeply about it, but we did put our clothes next to each other and decide for episodes. And here's so exciting. He's gonna ask her out. Yes. Whoa.
No, it's just finishing activation. And yes, I would love to attend the theater with you and Gigi.
Oh. But wait. It's mm, just the two of us. Oh, as you see on the face, that's exciting. And also, you could just ignore the beeping.
Apparently, Charlotte has called me 7 times in the last hour.
That is disturbing, though. I mean, that's never a good sign. If someone has
a video, George Wickham? No, I'm coming home. I'm coming home right now.
the jump cuts are strategic there. Mm. No. No.
No. I have to go back to the apartment. I have to pack.
Oh, it's panic. This is panic. Oh. So I do remember being like, wait, I need a bag, and that was just like a random bag, and there was like nothing. And then I was just like, what do I put in the bag? I was like, I need things to do here. I remember saying that, but we didn't plan on that, so these were just like, here's some books Lizzie maybe has with her. And
if I hadn't been so wrapped up in my own life, I had a clue about it, and I could have warned her about him. Apparently, he set up a website.
Oh, I also clearly thought that more of this episode was cute flirting than to give the title. Thought it was just the end, but oh no. Yeah, there's a countdown clock. Jay is going to pop in at the end for us to talk about that website, but I forgot how much of this plays out on camera, and then he touches me, but I'm not really in a space to absorb his comfort. Oh, I forgot that. I was so sad. That's my script. That was That's just me. Like my character needed to be busy, and I just grabbed what was there. Is how I handled that. Yeah, just yeah, a moment of what could have been, but he is very helpful. You gotta pack up that camera too, girl. Oh, ugh. Yeah, okay, so I guess more of that episode dealt with the upcoming crisis than I remembered, which is, I guess, why we got to have such a romantic, flirtatious 83. All these elements have built up to an actual date, just the two of them without Gigi facilitating, hanging out together, and thwarted. Thwarted. And of course, there is also that brewing chemistry in Pride and Prejudice when the news comes via a letter. And in this case, we played with the slow update of a phone. And that was another place where, much like the writers had to contend with the limitations imposed by the vlog style and the public nature of what Lizzie was presenting, they had some fun with technological things that most people have also dealt with. They also had to deal with how do we slow down the transfer of information in an era in which information can be transferred instantaneously, and the device of phone died, new phone, phone updating to then, all of a sudden I have 7 missed calls in an hour. That's never a good sign. It's a fun play on what has ultimately become a very common trope because cell phones kind of ruin, especially smartphones, kind of ruin a lot of stuff that writers have relied on for a long time. It's harder to have these missed connections. And just as we had to come up with a device for why Lizzie wasn't watching those videos and didn't know what was going on with Lydia, we also had to come up with a reason why she didn't get the first call. But it's lovely too. Kate and I talked so much in the last episode about the level of comfort that we see arise in 83, that they're starting to be less nervous around each other and be playful. And there's still a level of like kind of nervous energy at the beginning of this episode with the kind of, it's more complicated for Darcy to ask Lizzie out at this point than just the average person asking someone out because of everything that happened last fall at Collins and Collins, because he professed his love and she rebuffed it so soundly. He's already been very rejected by Lizzie, and it takes a lot of vulnerability to ask her out again. And she says yes. I'm so glad that they're not interrupted before she answers. Like, she does say yes, but she does not get to confirm verbally that she would go if it was just the two of them. But if you look at her face, she's not mad about it. There is a growing affection, and it was very fun to get to play that. And then also, we love the drama, so it's fun to know that all of this other stuff is going on. But now we've established this new level of comfort between them that means he feels comfortable reaching out to comfort her. She's not really in a space to receive it, but it's nice to see. She might sort of register it later. She does. I mean, she thanks him at the end, right? She does register the help and the care and the loss. I think, I mean, there was so much going on for Lizzie in that moment of also like, I guess we're not gonna go on that date, but I can't really even worry about something that seems so trivial to that compared to what is going on with Lydia and the guilt she feels associated with that, everything she knows about George, and then to find out that this whole time Lydia's been with George. It doesn't feel good. And narratively, of course, and Jane Austen did this, we love to almost give the characters and the audience what they want and then say, oh no, new complication. Sorry. Just how frustrated was the audience? Let's take a look at the comments. Marianne L. I love the way he asks her out. Like, do you want to go somewhere with Gigi and me, but without Gigi? Ah, ha, ha. It's a common device used. Frankie Stein says, Darcy randomly walking in and going, so how are you today? Reminds me of the book Darcy going, I trust your parents are in good health. Yes, I thank you, sir. Your sisters as well? Sure, we'll take it. Read by Zoe says, another shoulder touch. Yes, I'm living for the sexual tension. Yeah, I think in that case, it's just really significant that he feels comfortable reaching out to comfort her. Paige Hall says, don't get me wrong, I love the shoulder touches, but can we just talk about how gentle and amazing his voice is when he says, Lizzie, are you all right? Also, the confidence he responds with when she says no one can help her and he says, yes, I can. Ugh, I love him. Birdie Wolf says, can we stop with the eye sex? You must know what this is doing to my poor nerves. And no, we can't. And that, I mean, you can call it eye sex. I won't. But that is some of what I mean when I say that it is an actor's job to create chemistry. DVG and I were talking about, yes, we have a natural chemistry, but as much as my eyes do fill with love when DVG walks in the room, not in the same way as Lizzie's, but I can think Lizzie's thoughts and I can look at him and think, he's so pretty in his face and he's so nice. And he just, were you asking me out in this? Really? And I wonder what your lips would taste like. Wait, I didn't have that thought. Oh my gosh. That's acting. So I'm glad that people enjoyed our deep eye contact and all of the unspoken things that were carried within it. And of course, so much of this is setting Darcy up to be a hero. And it's nice, too, that we imply that Darcy does not just come to the rescue here in terms of using his money, although that is helpful here and will be even more helpful as the whole website thing progresses, but also that he can help because he can stay calm in a crisis and he can be there for her. Because ultimately, while money will solve a whole heck of a lot of problems, it will not solve every problem. And now we know that he can emotionally support her through a crisis as well. It's just so many feels. And we won't see him for quite a while. I'm sorry about that. But we are going to move into some pretty important plot stuff. And now we're joined by the illustrious Jay Bushman to give us some insight into some exciting behind the scenes transmedia drama that was happening. There was a lot of work and setup on your end, and then some unexpected things that happened to make all of that scandal
Yes. Yes.
happen. And so, tell us about it.
I do want to sort of make it clear that I pitched sex tape and that's what was accepted, but a lot of other people did a lot of really incredible work on it to push it from sex tape to revenge porn and to give it the weight and the sense of transgression and Lydia's like sense of betrayal and being used, and it's horrible. And I almost in retrospect like don't like saying sex tape because like that phrase
That's fair.
seems a little like glib and a little needlessly provocative, and it doesn't convey the actual harm that happens that we're dealing with there.
Well, and so let's talk about this the major piece of
Sure.
the transmedia side that had to be created because like
Yeah.
we learn about the context of it from this website.
Yes. And so this website, I want to back up a little bit though. And it's hard to
Okay.
disentangle all of these pieces because this was a moment where we got to thread together many different branches of the story into one place. And so we're coming out of the Pemberley Digital arc, and we had already discussed the idea. We knew that Lizzie was going to leave to go home, but we had to play out somehow what happened behind the scenes with Darcy stopping things. So we decided, all right, how are we going to get the idea of this sex tape out there? And so, and I forget who came up with the idea, but it was let's build a crappy website. We gave Katie the instructions, build a crappy website. And she was like, I could do that. That's awesome.
I
And
will try to
so,
find a screen grab
yeah,
of the website to insert here because it was just really gross.
it was really gross. And I remember we talked a lot about it, and we came up with this plan where we were going to drop the first episode of the Domino spinoff, wait like an hour, and then start posting comments in that video with the link to the crappy website for the sex tape.
Mm.
And I remember the day, I think it was the day before I saw the website for the first time. Oh, and I should say also the website has a low res banner, a photo, a countdown clock, and an email address.
To email to
To
order it, right?
email to order it, or to email
Right.
for more
We
information.
didn't put like a PayPal button because we weren't actually gonna like
No.
steal people's money.
Yeah. But we had an email address for people to write to get put on the list or to find out when it was going to be released or to get more information. And I think it was the day before that I finally saw the website. And I have to tell you, like, I gasped when I saw the photo, which was so vulnerable. Like, just seeing how vulnerable Mary Kate is in that photo it was a split feeling because part of me was horrified and the other part of me was like, oh, this is going to work really well. So the day comes, and I remember I'm like in a coffee shop in Hollywood on the Wi-Fi. I was going from one place to another. I was like, all right, I'm gonna in the middle of the day, I can stop at this coffee shop, I can get on the Wi-Fi for an hour and monitor this and make sure it happens okay and post some of the links in the comments. And I couldn't leave. I just sat there in the coffee shop refreshing the comments, watching people like see these and being like, oh God, some like spam bot, whatever. And then people started to follow the link and going, oh my God, this is real? Like this is part of it. And then I had the email address open. I think it was like hot Lydia Bennett tape at gmail.com or something like that. And I had the email inbox open and I just watched hundreds and thousands of emails come in, and I couldn't leave. I just couldn't leave, and I ended up getting a parking ticket because I was there for so long that my meter ran out, and I was like, you know what, best money ever spent. But
And
and
I assume that
thousands
all
of
of
these
those
emails.
emails were saying, take this down, you're a terrible person.
So the emails broke down into roughly three groups. There were the people who were like, George Wickham, you're horrible. You're the worst person ever. You should take that down. That's awful. There were the people who decided to play along in fiction, and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, I saw your website. I am very interested in getting more information about this tape. Please let me know. Then there was the third group that was like, George Wickham, you are the worst person ever. You should take this down right away. And please let me know more details about this tape when they are available. And
So
like,
it's a Venn
little,
diagram of
yeah, yeah,
comments.
yeah, yeah. And so just sitting there, like watching them come in, like, and for days it just kept coming in, and it was just so it was so fun. It was so much fun
And we
watching.
needed that website to live for a couple weeks, right? Because
Yes,
it gets posted 84s when Lizzie finds out
yes,
about it. It doesn't come down until I
yeah,
think 87.
yes.
So like
So yeah,
that would be, yeah, like 2 weeks.
so and a couple of things happened while those 2 weeks were going on. There came a moment where I forget who it was, but there was someone in the audience posted this thing to their blog or their Tumblr, I think, and they said, "Hey, wait a minute, maybe we're the ones who are supposed to save Lydia. Maybe we're all supposed to get together and like attack this website and bring it down, and maybe we'll be the ones to save the day."
If it wasn't a plot point that Darcy does it, I do love. I mean, and I think like you would love the interactivity of that, of like
Well,
the
so this
audience
is the
is
thing.
a.
So I've talked in the past a little bit about how my background and how I sort of got into doing this kind of storytelling was through alternate reality games. And in fact, I think we talked about like this
Yes,
poster I have here is from the AI alternate reality game.
where you
And
met
this
your
is
wife.
so this is kind of where I kind of first learned some of these techniques, and this has happened. That happened in the AI alternate reality game where the
Ah.
players decided to brute force hack a website because we didn't know what else to do. And it was only afterwards we learned that we cost the makers of that game hundreds of thousands of dollars in web charges because we did that. And so I did something which I tried not to do. I mean, I got approval for it. I wasn't going off on my own, but I got the okay to do this. I went on my Tumblr and my Twitter accounts and my social accounts and I said, "Hi, I'm going to come out from behind the curtain for a second and say, please don't do that because that will cost us money we don't have, and then we won't be able to finish the show."
Hmm.
And so that was received, and so like nobody put together a denial of service attack on the website, which that was great. But a few days later, the hosting company where we had the website had an outage. And
Okay. Because I
suddenly
was
we
like, but
start
it was
seeing these
down.
messages of like, it's down, the site's down. Oh my God, what's happening? And like, so we're like sending messages around to each other.
Okay, because
Wait, what's
I
happening?
remember
Like
this because it was
it's a
too early.
right. It's not supposed to be for a few days. And they're like, oh, there's a outage at the web host. Like it'll be back up
Mm.
in a few hours. And it was back up like the next day. And so the solve here was we created the company. We created a Twitter account called Novelty Exposures, which was
Yes, I
the
remember
name of
that.
the company that distributed the website. And so we created this thing, and like I put out some messages of like, "Hey, we know that like some of you folks are can't wait to get your filthy little mitts on our next tape. We're having some server outages, but we'll be back up, and rest assured, will be available soon." And so we sort of papered over the like in fiction reason why that went down. But what that gave us later on was we hadn't really like figured out the mechanism for how Darcy like got it shut down. And that actually gave us the answer, which is
Because then he
Darcy
had a
bought Novelty
company.
Exposures.
Hmm.
And yeah. And so right when the countdown was supposed to hit zero, we had the site come down and then we like replaced it with another, I forget exactly what it said. It announced something about like we were being acquired and we'll let you know what happens with this. I think that's how we did it. I honestly can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yes, but I just
Comment
if you
below if
ask me
you remember.
what the strangest thing we made up or Pride and Prejudice was, it's the Van Nuys based revenge porn company Novelty Exposures. That's the furthest thing from Austin that we I think we included in the show.
So I do remember that just being a very exciting time for us in the show.
Yeah.
The engagement was so high, and
And we made autoresponders for that. So if you emailed the address, you would get a response.
oh,
So now that I think about it, I know that's what we did is we changed the autoresponder afterwards. So if you
um,
emailed it, you'd get a thing about like we are being acquired and this tape is no longer available.
well, it was a brilliant piece of transmedia, and yeah, probably our most sort of like
It was
wild,
fun.
out there, eventful thing that happened, and
It was a lot of fun.
became a very crucial part of the story in a way that let everyone see exactly what Darcy had done.
And in fact, I seem to recall later on seeing some people had written some post about like now Darcy owns a porn company, like and like what happens there?
The
Who knows?
possibilities are endless. That's for someone in fan fiction to decide,
Yeah.
not me. Well, on that note, thank you so much for filling us in on this very enjoyable tidbit of things that happened as we sort of
Absolutely.
crescendo into the next
Mhm.
phase of all of this. Things are going to get a little dark, sad for
Mhm.
a little bit here. And just know that behind the scenes, while the audience was crying, we were gleefully laughing.
And calling web hosting companies being like, "You don't understand. This has to get up right
We
now."
need our porn site back up.
That's transmedia.
Thanks to Jay for giving us that insight. We sadly must bid adieu to Pemberley Digital and head back to the Bennetts to see what can be done next.